It's Thursday. It's about 8:30 in the morning. It's the 22nd day of February 2024. It's George Washington's birthday. You remember George Washington? He's that guy who chopped down a cherry tree and crossed the river on $1 and had wooden teeth. And I don't know. I think he was the first president or invented peanut butter. Or, I don't know, conquered Mars. Whatever. He was a guy, and it's his birthday. It's also Thursday, which means it's time for bam, dagger, bam, heart, bam, beat, 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 beat. Congratulations, Critical Role. You made it another week without any controversy. No Critical Role hate again for the second week in the row, other than people generally saying that Campaign 3 is a failure and Candle Obscura is a failure. But by now, I think we all agree that Campaign 3 is a failure and Candle Obscura is a failure, and anybody who's still milking that is just desperate for heat. Like me. Hey, all right, so let's take a look first at the numbers, and then the only thing resembling news, which is Bob from Bob World Builder has given us a peek into the very complicated Dagger Heart combat that he got a chance to recently playtest. So first numbers, let's go over to the Twitch. This week on the Critical Role Twitch, Campaign 3, episode 85 with 163K views, which for them is abysmal. For anybody else, it's like, I wish. But yeah, support me, Critical Role. We're fucking neighbors. You live in Calabasas. I live here. So yeah. I think they're still on the moon, and moon things are happening, and now they're building up to this big reveal that the big bad has always been one of the two female player characters, Laden or Imoden, and they're going to go evil, or they've always been evil. Maybe it was something Matt and the player worked off in the very beginning, or something that's slowly just building to defeat. The big question regarding Campaign 3 is, of course, is it going to end? Or is it going to end on a cliffhanger? Because right now it's kind of looking like it's going to end on a cliffhanger. But Campaign 3 is ending soon, guys. Then we head over to the YouTube. This week, we had Mitts Season 3, Episode 1 with 21K views. Guys, I thought you said you were going to stop this. Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 85 with 219K views. That's more like it. Candle Obscura, The Crimson Mirror with 70K views. Let it go. Let it go. It failed. Let it go. Stop beating the dead horse that is Candle Obscura. And Mitts Season 3, Episode 2 with a dismal, for them, 9.4K views. 9.4K views. I mean, I wish one of my videos got anywhere close to that. But for them, that's just disappointing. So yeah, that's numbers. Okay, so they have some new Critical Role toys that were just announced like 5 seconds ago. So let's take a look at those. These are from our friends at WizKids. You can pre-order them now. These are based upon the spin-off that they did. Remember when they took some time off and another DM ran something called Exandria Unlimited? No way, shape, or form directly copied from Acquisitions Incorporated, except, of course, it was. And this, I think, was set in the past before Campaign 1 because it dealt with something called the Calamity. And from what I understand from Critical Role Exandria history, the Calamity is what sets up everything that when we get to Campaign 3. So, yeah. This was run by a different DM. It lasted a couple episodes. We've got some figures. Let's see if we can get some close-ups of the figures. It comes with a cool-looking box. These are the figures. These are the figures in Photoshop. This is a female of some kind, not wearing any pants, or she's wearing green pants, and she has a club. This is her back. Oh, it's a wrench. So apparently she was a tinker. They had wrenches. She's a priest of God. This is the back of somebody. And this is the front of somebody. I think this guy shows up in Campaign 1, 2, and 3. Isn't he sort of the flamboyant weapons dealer? Anyways, this looks like sort of a pirate kind of guy in a green beret. Then we got this. I'm a human paladin or human knight. then we got this young lady. I am a wizard of some kind or a cleric, and I'm holding an apple, and I've got weird hair. Here's her back. And then we've got whatever this is, who looks like Gary Glitter / David Bowie. I don't know what's going on with this dude, but I guess he was one of the characters. And then we've got a bird person with an X. 2 X's. So is this a Kenku maybe? And those are all the figures. Do any of those look like something you want? I have a feeling the box set is outrageously expensive. Let's see. Yeah, $50. $50 to get these figures. So if you're a fan of Exandria Unlimited and these characters, you can get these figures. Here they are. We've got pirate, paladin, fighter, bird, game show host, maybe a priest of the mechanical god, and a vampire wizard something holding what looks like a apple with weird hair. Your guess is good as mine. All right, now let's get to the highlight. Bob, World Builder, got a chance to playtest Dagger Heart recently, and he got a chance to do the combat. He does want to remind us that this is still playtesting, and it's still, there's a lot of bugs. But I'm not going to go through the whole video because people don't like it when I do that. So let's just go through the breakdown of the things he covered. Initiative. There is no initiative. There is no initiative in the Dagger Heart combat. You just sort of decide. Players go first, and I guess you just go around the table, or you just cut whatever you want. He basically says you kind of get to go wherever you want, depending upon the agreement at the table. He said he made a joke about how Genie D went like multiple times. And so there's an action economy. And the action economy works that anytime your character wants to do something, you got to give the DM an action point, an action token. These are represented by action tokens, which could be a poker token, a dice, a piece of candy, a crystal, whatever. But it's a physical thing. You have to hand to the DM. You can't just say, I spend an action token. I mean, I guess you could, and the GM could just mark them down on a piece of paper, or you could rip up a 3x5 card or whatever and just have tons. But basically, it is something else. You have to buy another gimmick to hand to the DM. I am spending an action token to do something. And you can, technically, it feels like you can do as many things as you can as you have action tokens. Now, I don't know if the action tokens are a finite resource or an infinite resource. And I don't know how many action tokens you get. Do I get 1 at first level? And then does my class get me more? And then my feet, and it sounds like something that is very gimmicky, that requires you buying another physical product that of course means more money for Etsy. And hey, buy the official action tokens for the priest class kind of thing. But it also sounds like a mechanic that could easily be broken, because I'm opening up this door where it says you get to do things based upon how many of these tokens you have. And we know players are going to find loopholes, right? Oh, they're not going to do that. Bullshit, they're not going to do that. If there is a way to break that mechanic, somebody's going to find it, because you are opening the door to this action economy where players get this finite or infinite amount of these tokens, and as long as they have these tokens, they can keep going. So there's got to be a way to break that, and somebody's going to find it, and somebody's going to find a way to just keep going. Oh, I got another one. I got another one. I got another one. Apparently Genie D found a way to do it. So yeah. So what happens when I spend all my action tokens? Do I still, that's it? Are they gone? Do I have to think about conserving them? So maybe some actions I don't go because I'm saving my action tokens. How is this different than, at 4E at will per encounter daily, or just I can only use this ability a number of times per short rest? If I have a finite amount of action tokens and I can only do something when I spend an action token, and if I don't spend an action token, I don't get to do something, or what happens if I run out of action tokens? But now the DM has this pile of action tokens. So this is one of the things we discussed when we first found out about the combat system. GM apparently only gets to do something if the players roll fear. So this is a 2d12 system because reasons. One is your hope dice and one is your fear dice. So you roll the 2 dice. If the hope dice is higher than the fear dice, something it's, I rolled to hit with hope. And if the fear dice is higher than the hope dice, then I roll to hit with fear. You can succeed with fear. You can succeed with hope. You can fail with fear. You can fail with hope. If you roll double 12s, that's a critical. If you roll double 1s, that's a fumble. What happens if I don't roll fear? What happens if every roll I'm coming up doubles? What happens if I'm running a character that lets me move dice around? I get a +1 to my dice rolls. That turns that 6 to a 7. Now I have 2 7s. I didn't roll any fear. So you don't get to go. So the very possibility exists that the DM might not get to go, because what if he doesn't have a lot of action tokens? Or what if they don't roll fear? Because it sounds like from what Bob says, the DM can't react until somebody rolls fear, and then one or more of his monsters can do something. But the DM can only do something if he spends the bad guy tokens. But he could also save up bad guy tokens to do one big thing. And the example Bob gave was that they were attacked by a group of evil gnomes, and the DM built up all his action tokens to do one of the gnomes running in and doing basically a bomb. So he spent like 5 action tokens so the gnome could explode. So you can build them up for bigger things or just spend them for smaller things. Bigger monsters get more bad guy tokens and more things they can do with the bad guy tokens. And I guess the same goes for players. You can save up action tokens to do something bigger or spend them. And again, I don't know if the action tokens is an infinite resource for the players or a finite resource. And I don't know if action tokens are an infinite resource or a finite resource for the DM. I mean, I'm out of I'm out of DM tokens. Does that mean I can't do anything again until you roll another fail? Well, what if you have rigged the system so your character's chances of rolling failures are less or never? Because again, if you introduce this mechanic, the door is open for somebody to find a way to break it through feats and skills and whatever. So that's it. Now, there's apparently no real distance rules Bob went over. It's basically theater of the mind, or if you do use figures and a grid, the distances are touch, self, touch, 5 feet, 10 feet, far, near, real far, if I can see it kind of. So yeah, it's the distances as we know them. Apparently they have changed the combat system around. Now the PCs do have to roll. You roll 2d12 plus attribute, then add any bonuses, and then you do your stuff. Okay. Bad guys, but armor class is still gone. The PCs don't have armor class still, and the bad guys don't have an armor class. Bad guys always get hit. So it's not that the PCs always oops, hello. It was bad guys always hit and PCs have soak. Okay, so yes, the PCs have to still roll to hit, but the bad guys always hit. So the PCs still have to roll the 2d12 plus attribute to hit. The bad guys always hit. But instead of armor class, you have armor soak. So you choose to have your armor take the damage by spending an armor point. And if your armor takes the damage, then you have to subtract 1 point from your armor. So if my mook does 7 points of damage, I can choose to take the 7 points of damage, or I can choose to have the armor absorb the 7 points of damage, and then I spend a armor point. So there's another physical gimmick that I have to buy to spend. Go to Etsy and get your cleric appropriate armor points or your plate mail armor points so you can physically remove them. And then eventually your armor ablates down to 0. And then you either have to repair it, get a new one. Now, I don't know if armor needs to be repaired or if armor points regenerate, whatever. So, but yeah, player characters still have to roll to hit. Monsters automatically hit, so that's switched from the original where it was players automatically hit, and monsters had to roll to hit. If monsters do damage, they have to get through your armor soak. So the more armor, the more soak you have, where you can choose to ignore, you can choose to take it, you can choose to subtract certain amounts of it. Again, like that. And that was pretty much what Bob went through. So I have questions, especially with the mechanic. It's very gimmicky. And the hope and fear, yeah, that's totally a ripoff of Powered by the Apocalypse, which is, fail, succeed with complications, succeed. This is fail, succeed with fear, or succeed with hope. 2 12s, you critical. 2 1s, you fail. If you roll 2 dice and one is the higher than the other, it's either a hope or the fear, depending upon which. But if both dice are the same, nothing happens other than you succeed. So there is a mechanic. Bob says it's 50-50, but no, as anybody knows who's gambled at Vegas, and even if you are rolling 2 dice with the astronomical amount of math, and you think, oh, I have a 50% chance of getting in. It's like, no, you don't. And actually, I think it's 33 1/3 or even less percent chance you're actually going to get, double rolls or rolls that you want. But it's always in the house's favor, which means it's always in the favor of things going wrong, which means, and if you're introducing this mechanic, it sounds like I know enough people through my 50 years of the hobby who would look at this and already trying to find ways to break it. Does this race give me ability to manipulate dice rolls and manipulate the tokens? Does this class give me another ability to manipulate the dice rolls and manipulate the tokens? Does this feat, to compare it to the first thing I can think of is the Booming Blade Luck Paladin, Luck Halfling, right? So you play a halfling, right? Because they have the luck mechanic. You take a level of the wizard diviner, so you get Booming Blade, and you get the divination wizard's ability to call out dice rolls, right? So you have halfling luck. You have the 1 level of diviner, which lets you portend to dice rolls. When you hit your first feat, you take the luck feat. And then your 2 spells are guidance and Booming Blade are your 2 cantrips, right? So you're always manipulating the dice rolls so that you're always hitting with the Booming Blade. Or if it's a non-combat roll, you're always casting guidance to get that +1 d4, plus the halfling luck, plus the luck feat, plus the potent feat. And then you add things into that like bards. Yeah, it's where you can, add even more dice rolls. So yeah, so this will be the same thing. That there's some way to break this and somebody's going to find to break it. If I was playtesting this game, hint, hint, support me, Critical Role, and let me playtest the game. The first thing I would do is what class, race, skill combination allows me to break the action point economy so the DM never gets fear points. Because again, if the DM only the DM only gets to go if he spends money. I'm basically paying my bad guys to go. And if I'm out of DM points, I don't get to go. So if the players have found a way to never spend any points, or if the players have found a way to always rig the dice in their favor by stacking spells and stacking feats so that I never get those tokens and I can't use those tokens as the DM if I don't have any. So what? My bad guys just stand there? Oh, hi, coming into my house. Oh, you're taking my stuff? Yeah. Oh, you're attacking my wife? Can't do anything. I know, it's weird. My wife is just standing there, not defending her. Oh, you're coming up to me. Oh, you're attacking me. I would love to defend myself, but I don't have any DM points. I would say I would use Savage Worlds. No matter what, the DM has at least 3. Just like the players have 3 bennies, if you're familiar with Savage Worlds. And the DM has, at least 3 or 1. And then every time the players spend a Benny, that's a one more Benny that the DM gets to use later on, and other things like that. Right? Right? I mean, the Savage Worlds does it, and they do it pretty well. And that's basically that mechanic. Our blade of armor, if you spend points, that sounds extremely gimmicky to just sell us another toy. Buy the cleric specific action points, buy the leather armor specific tokens. And then of course he talks about the character record sheet, and we know that the character record sheet is very gimmicky. It's this 3-page thing with these cards, which again opens the door to Etsy, because buy the cleric specific cards. Now, I do like that. I do like that they understand that there is a huge Etsy economy for their games, and people are going to make these things, and so they want to support them. So that I like that. I like that they know the Etsy artists are going to be able to create cleric-specific tokens, fear-specific tokens, and make money off of that. 100% behind them supporting their Etsy. On the other hand, it's a gimmick for the sake of having a gimmick. Let's be different for the sake of being different. Let's steal bennies from Savage Worlds because we need to be different. Let's steal a blade of armor from every system that's used a blade of armor, but add a physical token mechanic to be different. It just feels gimmicky to be the sake of feel gimmicky. As a role player, I'm like, the less and less the more and more I hear about the system, I don't want to play it. It's just overly complicated. That said, if you ask me to play test Critical Role, I will gladly play test it, because I am a hopeless shill and I will sell out. Support me, Critical Role. On the other hand, none of this matters. None of this matters because, again, it is entirely based upon how the critters respond. This could be the worst tabletop role-playing game since Fatal or Cyborg Commander. It doesn't matter, because if they play it and the fans link onto it, success. It becomes the biggest role-playing game. If the fans don't like it, if the fans have that bad taste in their mouth from Campaign 3, and then Dagger Heart starts as Campaign 4, which is looking more and more like that's going to be the way, and the fans are like, no, you broke our heart with Campaign 3. You're not living up to our outrageous expectations. We're not going to buy this. So then Dagger Heart, much like Candle Obscura, fails. So that's the big thing. That's the big thing. It's not the mechanics. It's not reviews. It's the fans. The fans love this game. It doesn't matter how awful it is, because they're watching the Critical Role guys beat Critical Role, and that's what they're watching, and that's what they'll spend money on. They'll spend money on it because they want to have the investment. If it's a success, if they market it right. If, on the other hand, it's Candle Obscura all over again, then the fans go, no, this is awful, and don't buy it, don't invest in it, then it's a failing. And that's really, when it comes to this, what it's all counting on. Not how good the game is, how well they respond. RPG Grandma just had oral surgery. They still haven't sewed on that leg that they stole, and she's telling us what she's eating to get through the oral surgery. I drink a lot of banana milkshakes when I had my oral surgery years and years ago, because it was, something I could eat and still get the protein. So yeah, good combination. There you go. That is Bob's review of Dagger Heart Combat. That's my review of Bob's review of Dagger Heart Combat. And we've got the new figures coming out from the Exandria Unlimited, which look kind of awful. And that's it. Yay, they made it 2 whole weeks without any Critical Role controversy, other than people don't like Campaign 3. Oh, look, they're playing a game and they're having fun, and they're actually acting like normal players instead of people who are, playing a pre-programmed thing to make you excited, and they don't seem to care what you think. So they're playing a normal D&D game and you're upset. Well, whose fault is that? It's not their fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Campaign 4 will be interesting. That's it. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Drive careful. Support me, Critical Role. I will sell out. Get off.